Virtual highlight. Virtual highlight. Virtual. Just show the game. I don't even know where to start. The title screen alone upsets me. Do you see what's upsetting about it? It's that little thing right there. Atlas? Freaking Atlas published this game? They put out some of the best obscure games of all time, and in what mindset did they think Virtual Highlight would be a good one to add to their library? It's like knowing a gorgeous woman since childhood and you've always had a crush on her and admired her, and one day she says, "By the way, I once kicked a dog so hard, his head spun around like a rotor blade." The opening cutscene sets up the story of the game, and since it's on the Sega Saturn, it is legally obligated to have full motion video. A castle is attacked by a dark, mysterious figure. Recognize him? It's Viralis. You know, this guy, who is also this guy, and now he's here as this guy. Our FMV princess runs through the castle, and then Viralis and the princess explodes into fairies. Wait a second. It's a remake! Yes, Virtual Highlight is an actual remake of the original Highlight. It even says so in the manual. That means this game is about collecting 3 fairies to kill Viralis. The big thing Virtual Highlight touts is that it's different every time you play it, because it uses randomly generated worlds, which on the back of a box sounds pretty dang impressive, but it's ultimately worthless, as I'll explain later. With the world generated, the game starts and oh good god! This is our hero? This plain-looking, rag-wearing, portly dude? He makes Jim the Knight look like a badass. It's one thing to have FMV cutscenes, but to use a digitized actor as your hero, it just looks all kinds of awkward. None of the enemies are digitized, they're just sprites. Why use it for the main hero? Why not have consistency? You know what's fun? Fighting trees that can kill you in one hit. Fuck you, nature. At least there are options in combat. You can weak swing, heavy swing, special swing, and block. You almost never need to block, and the special swing either does a slightly different swing or, for some swords, shoot projectiles. But with this perspective behind the character, I have no idea what I can hit. There's no perception of depth being conveyed. Times where I think I would hit just misses. Even the enemies have a hard time hitting me. Plus, there are tons of times where in the middle of combat, I'm getting hit without realizing it because there's no indication of taking damage. Well, I mean, sometimes the hero bends over like he got punched in the dick, but other times he's unfazed. And with the jerky, awkward movements, it's hard to hit anything and feel like you're in control. Thankfully, fighting monsters is worthless. See, remember how the other Highlights padded itself by making you fight monsters to level up? Virtual Highlight fixes that by having monsters give you nothing. You do not get experience points ever. You only level up after completing certain objectives. So what's the purpose of having monsters in the overworld? There is none! They're only there to make you veer slightly off course while running around. On the overworld, you get a compass pointing you to your next destination automatically, even with an incomplete map. The entire game is avoiding monsters and running from location to location. So instead of exciting, engaging combat, you're an errand boy, running around. And this is what the randomly generated world changes. The dungeons are always the same, it's just the overworld and their locations. So all that's different is where to run to next, which is pointed out to you anyway. Did I mention the frame rate yet? Because, oh god, the frame rate! I have a smoother experience using an old Viewmaster toy. The first objective is to go to the cemetery. No idea why, it's just the goal. I did find some armor inside though, which is great. Like Super Highlight, you can equip different... Son of a bitch. Well, at least I have plate armor now. Yep. Good. That doesn't look awkward at all. The problem with cursed items is that you can't remove it, so I'm constantly wearing heavy armor that takes up all my carrying weight. Yes, the weight system from Super Highlight is back, and it's just as annoying here. The only things of note to get in the graveyard is the Amethyst Jewel, and you need to get the 3 jewels plus the 3 fairies in order to defeat Veralis. I also got a crucifix and a magic sword! It shoots 0 magic. While walking to the next place, I come across a scroll in the forest. Naturally, I use it. And then it tells me to pick something? Oh, okay. How about my magic sword? The checked item is a magic sword. Oh, okay. Thanks, game. Thanks for telling me what the item is after I use it. I get how this can make sense in your head, but that's just player hostile. Especially since there are other scrolls out there that'll ask you to select an item and then do something sucky. Like curse it. One simple change could make it so much better, instead of feeling like a jerk move. The next location is a mansion, and fighting in here sucks! It's one thing to have bad frame rate, but throw in tight corridors blended perfectly with bad camera angles, and you've got a recipe for I don't want to play this game anymore! Every room in this place is filled with that old recliner that my dad refuses to throw out. After having to touch 5 orbs, I have the first boss fight against a vampire. You can only hurt him with the crucifix equipped, and then he becomes incredibly easy. Just keep swinging away. He wants to teleport away, but he can't! Dad, he drops the magic lamp. You know, I really should find some fairies before I keep going. You can find the first fairy in a randomly placed forest inside a tree. You just touched one of the trees, but if you touch the wrong one, bees! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Portly guy of the night. Killed by bees. The next part is the trial dungeon. In this place, I found a dark sword. Its special attack shoots dark energy, and it hones in on targets. This makes fighting so much easier. I could never aim or hit before, but with this, the game does it for me. But there is a heavy cost to using the dark sword. With every shot, you lose points. It's like sacrificing a child with every swing. It's a good thing I don't care about kids. There isn't a boss in the trial dungeon. You just go through to the end to find a shield and a special tool, which is the Spectacles of Truth, which naturally is needed to get into the next dungeon. It kind of sounds more and more like a Zelda game at this point, doesn't it? Oh yeah, remember how everyone accused the original Highlight of just being a ripoff of the original Legend of Zelda? Well, this one has a Master Sword. So... The Ruins is just a dumb time-wasting maze to find more treasures at the end. Specifically a fire protection amulet, a dragon shield, and fairy armor! Oh boy. You know, I was just thinking to myself, I sure hope I can get more ridiculous looking armor than this, and gosh darn it, Virtual Highlight delivers! You know, maybe I've been too hard on the camera and the frame rate. I think I've gotten used to it. So really, once you've... Oh, okay, nope, never mind. This is bad. The inside of the volcano is made with lots of hills, which already has tight corridors, and you end up with this. The worst part is that there are small glowing spots on the floor that burn you to death. How am I supposed to not be on fire when I can't see where I'm going and trying to dodge at 4 frames per second? I found a diamond though, so that makes it all worth it. The boss in here is the Mad Dragon. This boss takes 3 times as long as all of the others because he has 3 heads, and each head has the full health meter of a normal boss. But killing him makes a flute drop from the sky. Just what I always wanted. By the way, I've died in this game as much as I did as the original Hydlide. I don't feel like I've shown that very well. So here's a montage of me dying a lot. Hey, look what I found! You know what this means. Whee! Minecart sequence! It somehow works in both directions despite having a 15-foot jump. There's an evil mage at the end, and the most evil thing about him is that he wastes your time. He can only be hit when he lands on the ground, otherwise he's invulnerable. So basically, they took the P-hats from Zelda and made it into a boss fight. And that is the third comparison I've made to The Legend of Zelda. Good! Quota met. His death awards me the Tears of the Earth and the second fairy. For the record, points do serve a purpose beyond a high score. You can spend them at a store for new equipment. But here's the thing. Everything that's in here you find out on the field for free in plentiful quantities. So unless you screw something up, like say turn your plate armor into an herb, you'll never need to come here. The Tears of the Earth is used at this ominous stone, which instantly makes this crystal palace appear. The inside looks more confusing than it actually is, you just gotta get to the center. And the center brings you down into a, oh, what is this? Seriously? Platforming? In a Hydlide game of all things? How am I supposed to know which one to get on with minimal draw distance? How am I supposed to time these steps when I'm going at 4 frames per second? Why does the map look like a Pac-Man maze? By the way, there are 2 levels of doing this. The bottom of this castle is a fight against a huge electric eel. And I died. It turns out you can only hurt him with a specific sword. Where is this sword? Why, randomly placed back inside the Pac-Man maze, of course. The light sword is a lot like the dark sword, only it shoots energy that don't cost points. And it murders eels. With the eel dead, the final fairy appears, and the 3 fairies come together and instantly whisk me away into the anus of Veralis' castle. And look, I have to fight the vampire again. Only this time he says something. And right after him is another fight against the time-wasting evil mage. Well, at least he was smart enough to bring 2 skeletons to waste more of my time. I'm guessing the developers realized halfway through this that fighting bosses again is a stupid idea, because the mad dragon and the eel don't even show up. It goes straight to Veralis, who is much smaller looking than ever before. You know, compared to this, or the opening sequence. Veralis isn't too tough to beat. The whole fight is pretty much me going pew 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 and he's all roar, but then I go pew pew and he dies. Veralis dissipates away and our hero stands in the only position that he knows. The fairies come together, bringing back the princess, and she is beautiful. Oh lord, she needs a hair straightener. The portly hero finds a penny on the floor and the castle disappears, revealing a gorgeous landscape. And the princess gets easily distracted by a bird flying by, but not before awkwardly looking into the camera. And then credits. Super brief credits. And that's it. But hey, I got a top score, so that's worth it. Is there nothing more to this? The final part of the Hydlide trilogy, and there's no big send-off? Oh wait, here it comes! My final rating for this game is a Hydlide out of 10. Seriously, what else can I compare it to? Virtual Hydlide takes its foundation on the already deeply flawed original Hydlide, and then further trivializes its gameplay by making combat worthless. The objectives are the same, and it wants its random worlds to add replayability when there's nothing worth going back for. It even copies the stand around for 10 minutes until you heal up mechanic. It's hard to say with the limitations of the Sega Saturn, but the game feels incomplete. Their ambitious ideas got in the way of creating something worthwhile. I guess they were just super proud of their world generator. It actually says here in the manual that there are over 40 billion possible world combinations, making it impossible to play this game twice. Well, they got that right.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you haven't seen them yet, be sure to check out the other Hydlide games on my channel, with Hydlide and the sequel Super Hydlide. And of course, if you like this video and want to see more of them in the future, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I mean, that lets me know that you like videos like this, and that would make me want to do them more. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep playing Pokemon. Which, you know what, I'm okay with. Maybe I'll do both. As long as it's not Hydlide anymore.
Look at King's Knight. Well, that's a cool looking cover. It's got a sweet looking knight dude and some anime babe in his arms. And it's called King's Knight. It's gotta be some kind of overlooked RPG that I've never heard of, right? No! No! This is King's Knight. It's a shooter! With pretend RPG elements. And it sucks. Guess who published this game? Yep, it was Squaresoft. This was before they released Final Fantasy, and it shows. The story in this game is dragon kidnaps princess, save her, and save the world. Well, at least there aren't 4 objects representing the elements. You play as the knight Rajak, very slowly walking north while killing a bunch of different enemies and destroying the very land you're trying to save. Unlike other shoot-em-ups where enemies come in patterns, King's Knight just throws crap around everywhere. They come around the walls, they hang out on top of the walls, they come from the walls. Seriously, most of the enemies are cocooned in walls, and I free them from their eternal torment. How do they show their thanks? By making a beeline for my... Oh, this is gonna be one of those games, isn't it? You know the type. The games that are so stupidly hard that it's near impossible to complete a single stage, because that way you think the game is longer than it really is. My first few runs at this game, it didn't go too hot. There's just stuff constantly flying at you all the time, and things just pop out of the ground. These holes trap you in one place just long enough for you to get railed on. There's no moment of invulnerability after damage either. It just piles on. Here's the thing with King's Knight though. If you die, it isn't game over. You instead move on to the next character. After the Knight Rajak, you play as the wizard Kaliva, and oh god, his stage! You know that feeling you get in your eyes when you're staring into the flash of a camera? That's how it feels his entire stage. The blinding colors of bright green and white make you die faster, since almost all of the enemies are also white and shoot white bullets that you can't see coming. For whatever reason, I'm a lot better at Kaliva's stage than I am the others. Well, comparatively at least. After the wizard, you play as the monster Barusa. Oh, look at this happy lizard! How could anyone call him a monster? All he wants to do is give the world hugs and... Oh, he is dead. And then there's Toby. I hate Kid Thief Toby. Even the game hates Toby. On the cover art for the cartridge, he's the only one with his stupid face completely covered up. His stage is all about deforesting what little trees are left on this beach, killing snakes and, I don't know, pissed off piles of shit. What makes his stage so bad, aside from the fact that Toby sucks, is that 2/3 of his stage is covered in water. And moving in water is the most uncontrollable thing I've ever seen in a shoot-em-up. It's not like moving in water, it's like gliding on ice. You're constantly skating around and unable to stop your momentum or cancel your movement somehow. Plus, when you try to get around land, it makes you hop around like a goddamn idiot. You're the worst, Toby! After 6 retries, I counted, I was able to keep the wizard alive. Oh, he's level 16. Is 3 stars good? As long as you have at least one person alive, you get to move on to the final level. Help the princess. Holy crap, I'm doing awesome. I don't even need the other guys, screw them. Especially you, Toby. Seriously though, wizard alone and I'm doing amazing. A little perseverance can go a long way. Oh, okay, that's cool. I'll do the whole damn thing again. I can still only get to the last level with the wizard though. At least I know not to go that way and... Wait, what? How do I? Why can't I? What do I do? What do I do? How is that fair? How is that fair?
Hey, thanks for playing our game. Good job getting this far.
Now get the fuck out of here.
Maybe I wasn't a high enough level? That's a thing, right? See, I figured I'd get a higher level by killing lots of dudes and getting invisible experience points. Of course, I was wrong. You level up by picking up power-ups. But what the hell are these? The first icons I see are up arrows and down arrows. Naturally, my first thought was speed increase and decrease. The up arrows give you health and the down arrows take away your health. Why not a heart and a skull? With that, I can instantly know what they do. Arrows convey nothing to the player. It's not just the arrows that don't make any sense. Every power-up icon makes no sense. There's a boot icon. If the arrows don't change your speed, I figured the boots do. But I picked them up and I don't feel any different. They're not speed boots. They're just normal boots. The boots actually do speed you up, but you need like 4 of them before you feel a tangible difference. What the heck are these other ones supposed to be though? You can get things like a skull book, some stairs, triangle, a Pokeball. Yeah, no, never get the Pokeball! How is anyone supposed to know what these mean? You need to get them though. Every power-up gives your character another level. Boots raise your speed, eventually. These stair thingers make you jump better. Shield increases defense. The white ball increases your attack power. Each of these stages are actually training stages in which you get your character powered up for the final stage. Because then you control every living party member in the final stage. But you cannot choose who you control out front. You must use these separate arrow icons to rotate. You can go one to the left, one to the right, or lol, completely random. I was able to get to the last stage with a full party, minus Toby, obvs. Your whole party shares the same life bar, so switching out is only for changing who is attacking. The only real difference between attacks is some people are better at killing certain statues. The most stalwart of foes. And this is when I learned that in order to beat the game, you have to have everybody. That includes Toby. I had to try Toby's super hard goddamn stage so many times. I have the video clips to prove it. And here's why you need Toby. Every character also has their own magic spell. Remember those weird ass icons I've been picking up? You need 4 of each type to get a spell for each character. And each stage has 1 of each. That means if you don't get all of them on someone's stage, you're doing it again. Plus every stage has a hidden stairway that takes you to a secret underground section. But these underground sections is the only place to get the icons for 1 of the spells. And they are significantly harder than the overworld areas. So instead of making these hidden areas a fun reward for finding a secret, they're mandatory, killing any chance this game would have for being fun. Keep going through them until you get everyone's spell unlocked, and fight a ghost pterodactyl at the end. Here's the thing with everyone's spell though, you can only use it at certain areas of the final stage. Begrudgingly, I got him there though. Having 4 people here makes it worse to play. You become such a huge target that you get the crap beat out of you. Plus, with such a large hitbox, it'll make your party jump in and out of water when you really don't want to, which causes, what else? More death. I can't even get to the area to use Toby's spell because I keep... I don't care. Look, this game is bullshit and you know it. I'm just using invincibility. I want to beat the game and be done with it. Alright, final level. Wizard spell, kill some dudes in the water. Great. Stupid walls, Toby's spell. These down arrows that clearly spell out D&D for whatever reason, use Baruza's spell to fly past some stuff. This part with the gross spitting dick monsters, use Rajak's spell to turn into a dragon-sized Pegasus. And then there's a bunch of statues that take a billion hits to kill and I can't press the A button any faster than this and... You have failed me. By the way, this is one of those games where holding the A button to shoot is significantly slower than rapidly pressing it. Thus, carpal tunnel syndrome. Also in the final level are 3 sword power-ups, and you have to get all 3 of these in order to beat the final boss. But at least they're relatively easy to get. Like I said, there are a bunch of different statues, and each character is better at killing in one type of statue than the other. So this final area with a bunch of lion and gargoyle statues, you have to use either Rajak or Kariva to destroy them in time or be crushed. That means using the rotate icons and hoping that it randomly sets you on the character that you need. I can't stress how stupid this is. Simply letting the select button rotate characters would make this whole final level way cooler, since the player would have control over the game instead of the other way around. Final battle! There's the dragon's body! Oh, and now his miscolored head. Okay, whew. To kill him, you have to hit him a bunch of times until it flashes white, and then switch to a different character and do it again for all of them. Invincibility aside, fighting him isn't hard. It's all these stupid switch icons that limit your room to dodge. But you also need them in order to get to the right character to deal their damage. It's needlessly frustrating, designed to take advantage away from the player instead of the player relying on their skill to succeed. You have to deal with their stupid crap. Each dude shoots the dragon a bunch, and then Rajak rams the sword into the dragon's mouth and out his butt. He's dead! The party celebrates with dance as Rajak goes off to get laid by the lovely princess. She runs up pretty excitedly, but then just looks extremely disappointed, like she's thinking, oh, Rajak saved me? And that's it. There's no credits for this game. They don't want you to know who made it, or the fact that Nobuo Uematsu did the subpar music for this game. If you know what you're doing, you can beat the whole thing in 25 minutes. It's stupid and it's short. That's why my final rating for this game is a Toby out of 10. I understand making a game difficult to elongate its playtime in the NES era, but do so by making tricky or clever level design and monsters, not by using a bunch of counterintuitive, esoteric choices to work against the player. It has to be played perfect, with everything done correctly to even complete the game, with no room for error. And Toby sucks and he's stupid and I hate him.
you